All right, so hopefully we have sound this time. If somebody jumps on here. All right, Christos, we got sound this time? Working now? Okay. Phew, thank goodness. The audio is not as good because I'm not using my microphone. For some reason, the microphone's not connecting. But I guess hearing me is better than not hearing me. Hopefully. So, how's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having an amazing Sunday and a great weekend in its entirety. Okay, everybody can hear me. Good, good, good. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So we had a couple good questions on the forums. Let me just dive into that real quick because get those knocked out first. So I'm gonna pull up the community forums here. If you give me just 1 second here, and then we'll dive into those questions, get those knocked out, and then we'll tackle any questions that y'all have currently on the live. So, first question is brought to us by Anna, and she says, "Do you have any thoughts on trying to drive your calories up before a second round of DSK? I've just finished offboarding, weight is holding steady, and would like to get my calories a good bit higher before I start my second round. I started round one around 2,200 calories, and if were to go straight into a second round now, I'd be going in at 1963. I also know that I would have to do a keto build for a bit. I've got a couple big cycling trips coming up. I'm starting doing a women's Olympic lifting class. I was thinking I'd like to get my calories to somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 before starting round two. I was planning to basically use the onboarding spreadsheet to slowly titrate up my macros until I get myself to a spot where I have my metabolism humming and have a good bit of runway for round two. Um, do you see? I guess I'll read the whole thing. I'm already halfway there. Do you see any reason why this would be an issue? Will I hit a wall on my metabolism and start putting on weights, even with the slow, gradual build? I note I have been holding on to 10 grams carbs since offboarding. I'm there probably 50% of the time, weight holding steady, but thinking I would titrate those up to maybe 20 grams to 30 grams. All right, so great question. Basically, she's asking, should she go ahead and increase calories further, kind of lengthen the offboarding process, basically, or onboarding. She's already done DSK, so it'd be kind of like the equivalent of offboarding. In which case, yeah, I would increase calories until you notice any adverse effects. So if your weight is holding steady, like she said it was, then yeah, I would try and increase. She's at 1965 now. Keep adding to it. Keep adding to it until you get any kind of negative adverse effects. So if you're able to titrate up to 2,500 calories, by all means, go for it. And that's going to be good from like an Olympic weightlifting class perspective that you're doing now. That's going to lend itself to more muscle growth and maturity. So more tissue development. So yeah, until you start noticing adverse effects, I would go ahead and keep increasing the macros there gradually. I don't necessarily recommend increasing the carbs much though. Maybe increase those very, very gradually, like 5 grams a month as opposed to 5 grams a week on those. Another question here we have. Hi Robert, I'm going to try to make the live, but I'm definitely going to watch it if I'm running late. My question is, I'm still losing weight at 1721 calories a day because I'm running long distance training to get ready to run the marathon on November 4th, and I'm working out heavy 6 days a week. I'm going to onboard for another 2 weeks and hold these calories macros until I run the marathon. I'm now 109 pounds, 5 feet tall. So I know at phase two I'm going to lose weight, but how do you keep losing? How do I keep from losing too much weight and not begin to lose muscle, which I need if I'm going to begin doing a competition in 2019? So that is another very great question. And she's got a cycling competition coming up. She's wanting to do a bodybuilding competition. Ideally, she would have enough runway and build that up as much as she can before going into a cut. She's worried about muscle loss. You don't have to worry so much about the muscle loss. I mean, ketones are incredibly muscle sparing. From a competition prep standpoint, like most people are going to be doing, like a carb-based protocol in which their protein is very high, their fat is very, very low, and their carbs are often titrated down. When you do a keto protocol, your ketones are going to be much higher because obviously you're on a ketogenic diet. Your fat ratio is much higher, which is going to help support your metabolism and your hormone balance. And that ketotic effect is going to be very muscle sparing. So for her, as long as she's lifting heavy and training hard and eating adequate amount of calories, she's not really going to have to worry about losing muscle. I would venture to say that you can go lower with all else created equal. You can go lower on your total caloric intake on a ketogenic diet than you can on a carb-based diet with less muscle loss because ketones are more muscle sparing. So yeah, that's my take there. And then let's see here, one more question on the forums. I just finished 6 weeks. This is from Kristen. I just finished 6 weeks of onboarding and I'm moving to phase 1. When I look back at what I logged a couple of years ago, I've been eating low carb. I was surprised to realize that I was consistently getting less than 50% of their calories coming from fats. Calories were around 1,600 at the time. There wasn't any issue that I can recall with bloating. So I was wondering, how long should I stay in phase 1 if I don't end up having any of the symptoms of reaching my protein threshold? I mean, what if I don't actually have a protein threshold? I'm going to give it up or give it a go for a few weeks, but don't want to spend the next 6 months in phase 1. FYI, I ate 80% fat all through onboarding with no negative side effects. I began low carb nearly 4 years ago, lost 150 pounds, and I'm going to do DSK to lose the final 10. Thanks, Robert. So another great question. So with that, if they've been keto as long as they have, and they've been at an 80% fat ratio for as long as they have, and then they had a period way back when they were at a 50% fat ratio, then they're going to have a little bit more metabolic flexibility with their macronutrients than some of this just starting keto, for instance. They can probably, bend the rules a little bit and get a little bit higher on the protein. But I do recommend that they, keep that higher fat ratio and go through phase 1 because a couple of different reasons. One, as your body composition changes, as the length of time that you've been keto adapted changes, your protein threshold is always going to change, or most often will change. And everybody's got a protein threshold, so they have a protein threshold, even if it might not be as evident as somebody that notices extreme bloating or more lethargic upon waking, like I notice when I reach my protein threshold. So for them, I would recommend continuing to titrate protein up and go through the protocol as if they were trying to find that protein threshold. And then, if they get to about, 65% of their calories coming from fat, then I would transition into phase 2 if they still haven't noticed any adverse reaction. Because, at that point, there's not really any need to go beyond that for this course purposes. So I would have them keep doing what they're doing, try and notice and be very cognizant of any small changes, even if it's not as evident as somebody else might have with a protein threshold, and then probably not exceed about 65% of their calories coming from fat. Or I would not exceed so that they go lower than 65% of their calories coming from fat. All right, so we got it wasn't a question, but there's also a super, super sweet note from Judy Love on the forums. So Judy's a rock star. I met her in person the other day. Huge shout out to her. She's an awesome moderator, awesome person. So much love to you, Judy. So now I'm going to jump into the questions on the live here. And the first one is brought to us by, looks like, how low on calories should I go? Male, 5'8", 172 pounds, starting at 2,250, and I'm at 1,800 right now. So that's going to be very hard to just know. I need a lot more information. I need to see how your body responds. That would be kind of more like a one-on-one kind of coaching question. Because everybody can be different. Those stats alone, you might have a floor at 1,600 calories, and somebody else might have a floor at 1,500 calories or 1,900 calories. So I need a little bit more information than that. A lot more information than that. But at 1,800 calories, you're still rock solid. You can go lower than that for sure. What kind of foam scale do you recommend? Need a new one? I don't body weekly at the gym. Wait, this is skipping on me. I don't body weekly at the gym, though. So I just got a new scale. I got the Withings is the brand, Withings. But it syncs with my phone, which is why I got it, because I didn't want to have to record my weight manually every day, because it was just a habit that I never really got in the habit of doing. So I wanted to get a Bluetooth syncing smart scale so that I wouldn't have to do that manually. So I like mine a lot. It's Withings. It has the body fat measurement and all that stuff, so I don't really put a whole lot of emphasis in that, but that I've been pretty pleased with it thus far. Let's see here. You joined Lifetime, right? InBody is free there, right? At least it is at mine. So I do not have a membership at Lifetime, but a lot of the Lifetimes do have InBodies, in which I think they are free. So that would be a really good option for sure. Do you eat sausage that has dextrose in it? Asks Sean. Not if I can help it. Like if I'm in the middle of nowhere, they don't really have any specialty food stores, and that's all they have, then I'll get it. But ideally, I can swing by like a Natural Grocers or like Whole Foods and find a good quality sausage, or order it, and find one that does not have dextrose. My two favorite ones, or my favorite one probably being the Teton Waters brand. Peterson Farms also has a non-dextrose kielbasa sausage, so both of those are rock solid. Renee says, having tingling in hands, pins and needles feeling. I'm phase 2, 1370 calories, getting ready to move to phase 3. Is it common with lower calories? That sounds more like a hydration or electrolyte issue than a total caloric intake issue. Have you stayed on top of your electrolytes and everything and fully hydrated, or is that not the case? Because I mean, total calories, things start changing for sure, but I don't think that's too low for you, and that you shouldn't really feel a tingling from the calories. Okay, thanks for the feedback. 65% fat answer. Thanks. You betcha. Abby says the last week has been better for me with offboarding. Next week starts me increasing the calories off the chart. 5 grams each. I am doing the fat percentage going down as it does, but once I hit my past protein threshold, should I change my macros to keep fitting that protein threshold? I noticed my protein threshold due to increased shoulder pain. This was the main indicator for me in phase 1. Yeah, so like if you reach that point at which you notice that increased shoulder pain, and that's been your threshold in the past, it's a pretty good indicator that's probably going to be similar to that being the threshold now going forward. So you don't necessarily need to go beyond that. I mean, you could try to go a little bit beyond it just to see if you notice that pain coming back and kind of give yourself some perspective there. But like you can titrate to that and then kind of find your sweet spot, maybe scale back a little bit once you reach that. But it's good to know what that point is. So I would push it as far as you can until you notice any adverse effects or any pain in your shoulder there. So let's see here. Bro, I was recently diagnosed with ligma. Can you please pray for me? I can't hit the gym because of it. I'll definitely be thinking and praying for you. But keep us posted on that. I'm curious to see. Yeah, just keep us posted on that. We'll have you in our thoughts for sure. I have the Under Armour scale. It syncs to my phone, which is nice, but it tells me body fat equals 20%. BodPod told me 37%. Yeah, the scales, like the bathroom scales that show body fat, are total whack. So don't put any really emphasis on that at all. Christo says, Renee, I got pins and needles on left hand when my electrolytes are lower than needed, like clockwork. Yeah, I think it's definitely a electrolyte issue more than anything. Any hacks, advice for bloating? Seems to be happening more and more. Cutting out eggs and condiments and anything that may create GI noise, but can't figure it out. Okay, so bloating. Condiments would be a good place to start. I know it keeps going back to electrolytes, but if your water and sodium and potassium equilibrium is out of equilibrium, that's going to cause a lot of water retention. So you might want to tweak those a little bit. And that number may change. That you might start the course and at your current weight in a composition, you might find that 4,000 milligrams of sodium, 2,000 milligrams of potassium, and a gallon of water is exactly what you need. But then as your body changes, those needs might change. So feel free to fluctuate and tweak those a little bit kind of as you go through it. And that would very likely be the reason for the bloating. Keto Coach Lauren says, I get numbness, needle feeling in hand and arm with low electrolytes as well. Yeah, I get it with electrolytes. I don't get it so much with low calories, but I do get it with electrolytes. So I think it's definitely electrolyte related for sure. Has anybody found any better alternatives to electrolytes since they changed the Vega Hydrator? I know ZipFizz and Dr. Berg's electrolyte powder are kind of like the top two in my book now. It was three with the old Vega Hydrator formula, but now that is out of the question. I've got to kind of reevaluate and find a better option. I like to have a couple options because the taste of ZipFizz or the taste of Dr. Berg's at any one time, too much at any one time gets kind of old. You know. We have got all kinds of time, y'all, so feel free to keep on bringing the questions in. Renee says, at 1370 calories, can I stay in phase 2 longer? My weight loss has stalled for about 12 days. Thanks, guys. I will up electrolytes. Yeah, so again, I would need more information. Like, I don't know what your current weight is. I don't know what level of depletion you're at. I mean, 1370 is getting pretty low for sure. I would almost suggest go ahead and transitioning into phase 3 and seeing if the keto refeeds would help get that plateau installed to kind of start moving again. 126.53. Yeah, I would try maybe 1 or 2 more weeks in phase 2 at the longest, and then transition to phase 3, leveraging the ketogenic refeeds and see how your body responds to that. Keto Coach Lauren says, I make my own with potassium, citrate, calm magnesium, and pink salt. Know the absolute best flavor, but gets the job done. And Calm uses stevia. That's a good idea. I never thought about that. Getting like the citrate powder in bulk and then mixing the Calm magnesium. I like that. And then you can get some caffeine and mix that in there, similar to the ZipFizz, and bypass the sucralose that is in the ZipFizz. Look at Keto Coach Lauren rocking it out over there. Yeah, make it up for a couple of days. That's a really good idea. I've got that super big mixer that I have for the Keto Bricks, and I'll just buy a whole bunch of canisters and pour it in that and mix it all up. Start my own supplement company. The improved electrolyte formula. There you go. Shoot ya. All right, y'all. Bring on the questions. Christos, if you're still on here, I'm wearing your shirt, by the way, man. Thanks for the shirt. Appreciate it, bud. We have plenty of time for more questions. Keto Brickolites. I like it. I like it. The electrolyte enhanced keto brick. Abby says, for me with magnesium, I do use Dr. Berg stuff throughout the day. Then if I don't take the magnesium pill from form I have for the night, I get cramps in the morning. My body wants both forms. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's not a bad idea to kind of have both forms, simply to kind of cover all your bases and hedge your bets. So that is not a bad idea at all. The Keto Road is in the building. What's going on, man? Kristen says, I've actually been saving old ZipFizz tubes to start making my own electrolytes. That's a really good idea. Honestly, the ZipFizz tubes are really rock solid. I like them. And they're well built. They're portable. I'm probably going to bring a bunch of those on the marathon when I run it. The Keto Road finally found us. Yep, the live is on the Deeper State YouTube. Yes, Christos. How can I melt the keto brick to put into smaller molds? Can I microwave or on the stove? You can do either way. Honestly, you can stick it in the microwave, like 30 seconds at a time probably, or just throw it in a pot, saucepan, heat it up on low heat, stirring it up, and it'll melt. It's pretty hardy. You can mix it up. You can do like a double boiler if you want to get all fancy, but yeah, just a microwave or a pot is totally fine. All right, y'all, any more questions? Bring on the questions. If you got them. If you got them. How's everybody? Oh, we got one. Do you still think Ultima is a good form of electrolyte or suggest other kinds? I also have ZipFizz. Ultima's good. It's just not as dense as the others. I forget every time people ask me this, but I think the Ultima has like 250. Is that right? 250 milligrams of potassium per serving, or somewhere in that general ballpark, which is not bad. It's more than the 99 milligram pills, but like if I can just do, 1 scoop of a, Dr. Berg's powder or 1 tube of the ZipFizz as opposed to, 5 or 6 of the Ultima, it's always good. What is the best kind of resistance training for someone just starting deeper states? That's a good question. Best kind of resistance training for someone that's just starting resistance training would be probably like the machines, honestly, until they kind of figure out what the muscles are doing and kind of, getting in tune with what their body's capable of, then transition to more like a free weight, dumbbell, barbell, cable kind of scenario. But, somebody's just lifting. I'm assuming when you said they're just starting deeper state, they're probably just lifting maybe. Um, I would recommend a machine for sure. What type of cardio is best as well? Stairmaster all the way. I'm never gonna. I don't think there's anything better than Stairmaster. Stairmaster is the most bang for your buck. What is your backdrop? It is little foam pads, acoustic paneling that I've got in my podcast room here to help with the sound. Ideally, I'd be having my podcast, but with my microphone, but that's not working for me. But yeah, little acoustic panels. Looks cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, this is I got the office in the other room. I got my recording room that I'm in now. Once I get this place fully set up, this is where all my podcasts are going to be recorded going forward. You know. Any more DSK related questions, ladies and gentlemen? Anything of relevance I could tell you at all? Is there anything else that y'all would like to see added to the course? How about that? Let me ask you some questions. Is there anything that you would benefit from having added to the course? Is it pretty complete? Is it missing anything? Are there any holes in the material? I'm all open to suggestions. How much water should someone drink? Is it dependent? Yeah, it is dependent on the individual. Is it dependent on weight? So not really. I mean, like, there's all kinds of water formulas that says, if you're this heavy, then multiply by this and divide by this, and this is how much water you should drink. But I kind of err on the side of more as opposed to less. There was like a little phase in the keto community where everybody's like, don't drink too much water, don't drink too much water. And yeah, you don't want to drink too much water, but too much water would be like 3 or 4 gallons. So don't drink that much. But I mean, most people, they're not drinking near enough. So I try and, like, general rule of thumb is to get, like, at least 100 ounces, a gallon if possible, and you should be rock solid. Of course, there's also the variables of, how much you sweat and what you're training like. Are you living in a hot and humid area? I mean, all kinds of other variables there. More DSK recipes. I do like that idea for sure. Keto Connect's the recipe people, though. They're the ones that do all the cooking. I'd love for them to make some more DSK recipes. Is there anything that y'all would like to see in collaboration with Matt and Mega? Like anything that I could do with them that would be good for y'all in the course in general? Recipes being one for sure. Anything else come to mind? Macro muffins are so good. Yeah, the macro muffins are good. Plus, they have like that, like, bread-like texture that people crave so much on keto. So it's kind of like a win-win for sure. Plus, they're just easy. I'm all for easy. Some people don't want to mix things up constantly, but having something easy is key. Then you're less likely to cheat on it. You know. I also have been wanting to do more DSK recipes. Just need to be done with offboarding more. Yeah, so recipes is the general consensus. The most people would benefit from more recipes. If there was one thing to change, would it be recipes? For someone just starting out, how do they handle sugar cravings? Honestly, the best thing to do to handle sugar cravings is to cut all sweeteners, rip the Band-Aid off. Once I did that, it just made all the difference in the world. Like, I used to chew gum like crazy because it was just like sweet, and it like kept me busy, kept me preoccupied. But then I cut that, and then I cut all artificial sweeteners, all natural sweeteners, and I don't crave anything sweet ever, which is awesome. It's liberating. How to plan for the drop in macros. I'm sure they have a way to adjust the meal plans. Just ideas on that, on that would be helpful. A video library. Working with Keto Connect, that is. Yeah. How to plan for the drop in macros. It would be really cool. I don't know if this is even possible, but I was thinking about this the other day. How cool would it be if like you could select like a revolving, 5 to 10 different food options, and then plug those into a calculator, like the ingredients and the necessary amounts. And then as your macros changed, there would be like a formula and would automatically adjust the recipe requirements and the amounts needed to hit the macros. Like that would be so freaking cool. I've never seen that before. I don't even know if it's possible, but surely it's possible. I'm gonna put my head and figure that out. Um, Agreed. Sweeteners, honestly, you're just gonna have to power through it for a while. Yeah, it's kind of like a cut, rip the band-aid off approach. It's gonna suck. It's kind of like keto flu. It sucks for a little while, but you're so much better on the other side. Your advice for the best keto food if someone travels a lot, besides the keto brick, little plug there. I would say something like, kielbasa sausages. Those are just super easy. You can like most of them are already pre-cooked, which is even easier. But then you can like chop them up in little pieces, put them in a Tupperware, put them on like a little cold pack or something if you're gonna be in the car for a while or whatnot. But I like those because they're already pre-cooked. You don't have to worry. I mean, you can just stick them in the microwave or just eat them cold. Honestly, they're still good cold. That is what I'm talking about. Yeah. See, I have never seen that though before. I don't know if it even exists. If it does exist, if you've seen something similar, send me the link because I would be curious to see how it's laid out. But I don't think I've ever seen it. That is what I would like to see added to DSK. Yeah, it's probably going to take quite a bit of formulation and mathematics and all kinds of stuff. But there's a will, there's a way. So I'll see if I can figure something out for sure. For sure. Any other questions come to mind, ladies and gentlemen? Anything at all? Anything at all? Trying to think of the questions. Oh, speaking of questions, tomorrow I'm going to publish my 100th podcast episode, which is going to be a accumulation of questions that I've been asked with a post that I made. So it's going to be like a recorded, like just rapid fire Q&A basically. And I'm going to publish that as my 100th podcast. I'm also going to record it, and that's going to be my YouTube video for tomorrow. So that will probably answer a ton of questions that y'all might not even know you had, because people from all over the place have been asking those. So I'm excited about that. Crystal is going to be co-hosting that with me. She's going to be asking the questions. I'm going to be answering the questions. So it should be pretty good. I'm excited to record that one and hopefully answer any other questions people have. By golly. Alrighty. Well, if anybody has any questions, now's the time to throw them out there. If not, I'm going to call it quits on the live here and jump on a conference call. But we've been on here for 36 minutes so far, so I bet everybody's got their questions out. So it's been great. Love talking with y'all as always. I'll be back next week. I'll figure out what the day is going to be next week. And then again, I'll put the as soon as I figure out the date, I'll put the post on the forums, and just let me know, what questions you have on that post. So I will talk to you soon. Peace out. Take care. Toodaloo. Adios.